Matt, Nick, hello.
Hello. What are we doing? Considering?
Being better.
Yes. Quite.
You there? Nick? Nick?
Is he on the screen, John?
Yeah. Being better. Right, hi everyone. So just quickly before we get going, it's just going to be me, Nick, and Matt just to start with, and I'm going to bring you all in one by one to have you say, and then kick you out. And I'll probably disappear around 6 o'clock. So I'll bring both Nick and Sam and Tim in. Nick, you there? Hello? Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Nick. Can you hear us? Do that if you can hear us. Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you loud and clear, mate, yeah. Assume you can hear me.
2.
Can't hear Nick. Nick. Sam, is your dad on his proper mic?
Uh,
Oh, for fuck's sake, who does this? I'm just on a stream. Stop calling me at this time. Turn my phone off. Nick, hello.
First, press and hold both the side button and either volume button. Then move the slider button.
I'll have to remove him. Right, Matt, we're going to have to go, aren't we?
Yes.
I'll bring Tim in. Tim, hello. Jesus. Tim. Nick. Hello.
Just me and you then, John.
Looks like it. All right, let's go. Saturday, the 3rd of October, 2020. In this special 606 match review show, we go over Blackpool 2, Lincoln City 3, as the Seasiders fall to yet another defeat at home to the Imps in what was a very poor defensive show. Joining us on the stream this evening are Matt, Nick, Tim, Sam, and a couple of others. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders podcast, 606 match review show.
It's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Right, good evening, all you Seasiders out there. Welcome back to the match 606 Seasiders podcast special match review show. We're having some technical problems with Nick, so I'll just remove him from the screen and I'll add our sub, Sam. You've made it off the bench, Sam.
First reserve, I like that.
Yeah, you got on straight away. Who'd have thought it, eh?
I'll take that.
You've just run back from the Armfield Club. How was it?
It was good. Everyone was kind of socially distanced, and the beer and everything there was good. Shame we couldn't have the game on the big screen so everyone could watch. But after the result, I think it was a good job that the game wasn't shown live.
So what happened then? We saw some pictures on Discord of people watching on their laptops, and that was that the order of the day? Were people just doing?
Yeah, everyone had to watch it on their
Watching
own device, laptop, phone, whatever it was. We had when Blackpool scored the first goal, people cheering at one side, especially in the middle bar, the main bar. But yeah, they've tried to ring the EFL and get games on the big screen, but due to regulations, unfortunately, not allowed to do that. And if it is shown, a 10 grand fine. So again, it's one of those things that I think the EFL have to use the common sense a little bit. And if all season ticket holders have paid and they can watch the game, it should be able to happen. But yeah, majority watch it on the phone, and good experience to be fair, but just disappointed about the result.
Right, Matt. So let's kick off with the game. We are on the 606 match review show. We've got a few guests waiting in the wings. So let's just quickly kick the calls off just to start with, and we'll bring in Tom. Hiya, Tom. Sorry,
Hi,
Tom.
mate.
Press the wrong button. How you going, Tom? So, what's your main talking point from today's game? And what would you like to say?
Oh, I've calmed down a little bit, but I was absolutely fuming come full time. Raging, to be honest with you. I think after nicking the second goal, Mitchell sort of making up for his earlier mistake, I think we just have to sort of play simple football and needs just to clear the ball. And, you know, he concedes the penalty after a stupid tackle, deserved red, and then Sarkic has the opportunity to chip the keeper to make it 3-2, and he plays the most ridiculous pass and they counter-attack. And then Marv's shields the ball out, relatively good defender, and decides to put a foot on it for us to then have a defender do some kick-ups in the box and score a goal. It's beyond me. So I don't know what to say, really. I think that the first half we grew into the game really well. I think Yates played really well. And then the second half we just didn't get going at all after CJ's opportunity. So I think we deserved to lose in the end, but just the way we lost is left me scratching my head.
So, the game itself, then, do you think we performed okay, generally speaking?
I think
results
first,
aside?
not second half. I think first half we played really well. I think we should have scored a lot more. I think we should have had a penalty as well. I'm not just, I'm not saying like I'm a Blackpool fan. He beats his man, puts an arm on him, and he goes down. I think you've seen him given. I think we deserve to have a penalty and probably go in at the break ahead. But second half we just didn't show up. And again, we had 17 shots and 3 on target, I think it was, and just isn't good enough. And then you bring off Yates for Sarkic. First half great, second half really poor, and just I think that's confirmed by us losing the game in the manner we did. What's
your main point or your main thing that's making you annoyed today from watching that game?
The mistakes at the back. I think we've been screaming for a quality centre back for a long time now, and when Nottingham's not making mistakes against Gillingham, then we have Marv's do that at the very end. I think we need to sign some experience at the back. I think maybe when Gabriel comes in and Garbutt plays, and then we have Husband at the back with someone else, but we might seem solid and we can push on. But we're in for a rough season if we don't make any signings at the back. I tell you that, because we're just going to keep conceding really poor goals.
Sam, over to you. What are your thoughts on
Tom? Just completely agree with what Tom's saying. In terms of schoolboy errors, I think Steve in the chats put it very nicely. Let down by schoolboy errors yet again. It just can't be happening. First goal, again, I can see that obviously it's a soft penalty, but given the second one, you can't. I don't even have any excuses for Husband. He's too lackadaisical on the ball. Then has to track back and bring his man down. Just silly. But he's done it at Fleetwood. I've seen him do it a number of times there, so it didn't surprise me really. And the third goal, as you've alluded to, just poor mark and everyone's ball watching. It's gone over the head. He's got to be tighter, and we've got to be smarter at the back.
It seemed like he had 30 minutes on the ball. He chests it, does a kick up, does another kick up, and then taps it literally under the keeper. Like,
you can't do it in this. If you want to be promoted, Husband is not in your team. Turton's not in your team. Nottingham's not in your team. It's the reality of it. And I know I said yesterday we're in a transition period, but you can't have those errors in a game that are going to cost you a point. And after the first half performance, I thought we might go and get all 3.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt him, but I think that my main point after the defence is, I said it on Twitter as well, is Critchley subs is bring on Jordan Williams as our last sub, is bring on Sarkic for Yates and left Medina on the bench after playing really well against Wyndham when he came on. His subs, why are you bringing on Jordan Williams? You've got Kemp on, Kemp to come on and attack their players, and it just for 60, 70 minutes in, pass the ball to CJ, or he didn't get his man, let's get it to CJ again, or he didn't beat his man, or let's get it to CJ again, or he didn't beat his man. It's silly.
It's frustrating, isn't it, Tom? I guess Matt, you're kind of the same, really. Just a frustrating performance, and one where you look at the first half, I thought we dominated.
Yeah, I'll just start by saying that I'm glad we're doing this so quickly after the show. It shows a lot more sort of raw emotions, which obviously by the time we normally did it on a Monday, Tuesday night, we're sort of calmed down. But this is immediate therapy, which I think we all need, really. But yeah, I mean, I'll echo exactly what you guys have already said. I mean, I did actually write some sort of scribbly notes down in preparation for this, and the last 4 words I wrote were mistakes every effing time. And that's just the way the games are at the moment. The 2 last week at Gillingham was schoolboy. The 2 or 3, well, there's more than 3 today, even though obviously 3 resulted in goals. It's just basic stuff. And whether we need experience or whether you can actually coach that sort of stuff out of people, I'm not entirely sure you can do the latter. This is where we are. And until we get something solved at the back, particularly, we're going to be having these conversations every week, I fear.
We've been having this conversation with ourselves on here for the past, all pre-season and during the season, and it's still not been solved. And like you, Matt, I've written I was tapping away on my phone, like writing things down, but it's just all gone out the window now. In a mirage of shit defending, it's all just merged into one in my head. And there's that many errors that you can't like talk about each the odd point here or the odd point there. There's been so many of them. I mean,
and everyone's crucial. Everyone's crucial. That's the problem. It's not like we're doing it on the halfway line. We're doing it in the most important area of the field, week in, week out. So, something's got to give, I'm afraid. Something's got to happen.
We were talking about, or I was yesterday, Sam, on the preview show about Critchley saying, it's all this Liverpool. We need to play this way, this Liverpool way. And I'm sorry, but in League One, you sort out your basics. You don't defend. You're not winning games. It's simple as that. And we've seen that today. Tom, you're nodding your head there. Pateta, for me, he's a poor signing. He's a fish out of water for me.
I think weirdly enough, I work with someone down this end that is a Leyton Orient fan, and he says he's vulnerable to a few mistakes but scores some goals at League Two, and I just thought, great. It's not what you want starting as centre back. And that's from a Leyton Orient fan, and they've had a couple of good seasons recently, but on those so very average in League Two. So we've made some stunning signings up top, but it's not clicking up top because we're relying on one man. Scored another great goal today because Yates, done some really good work again up top. He starts Bez again, beyond me again, also ineffective again today. It's the defence, really. I think if we sort of defence, if Garbutt and Gabriel start, I don't think Husband was horrendous until he made that.
No, he wasn't. He made. He shored it up, didn't he? At the back, he shored it up at the back, and he made a big difference, didn't he?
Yeah, after the first 20-30 minutes, I thought, I'm so glad he's playing, because every time the ball came, tackle out, pass out, clearance out, and then to do that 2-2 is just, I don't know what's going through his head, but it's happened now, and I can't keep getting angry about it. But the Mitchell, credit to him, he tried all game, and he scored a goal, and fair play to him. But that the tackle is not side on; it's facing his man, and where are you showing him? He's only going to go one way.
Show him down the line, don't you?
Yeah,
you
don't turn your body. Again, Singer had said earlier, it's schoolboy stuff. How are you not side on your man and showing him down the line, or showing him on his weaker foot and pushing him back? You're facing your man chest on. He's done you. Sorry, but
this is a guy from Man United as well. And
when he tackles him, he goes, "Oh." Like that. It's just giving the referee free roam to do what he wants. He's gone like that.
It's a good point, isn't it, Max? It wasn't 100% a penalty.
No one appealed.
When I was watching it.
Well, I thought he was nailed on personally.
Oh, did you?
but-
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. It's a bad
I know what
tackle,
you
but
mean.
no one appeals, and then he goes,
Yeah, so I get he made
You might as
the
well
he made
go
the
on,
decision.
yeah, point to the spot yourself.
Yeah, he definitely helped the referee. That's there's no doubting about that. But I mean, this is a guy who's been brought up as a winger and he's been slotted in at left back, and it showed in that instance, didn't it? You know?
Square
Yeah,
pegs and round holes.
I honestly think he, other than the bad tackle, is probably say a shine and light in that second half display. But he tried to get on the ball and he tried to make things happen a lot more than Bez did. To be fair, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to undershout on Mitchell because he even gets the goal at 2-1, and we potentially could have a great robbery, but
Yeah.
I can't fathom what happened in the last 5 minutes. I just sat there and I was just jaw on the floor, and let's just say Critchley's a new manager. I don't care if you're a new manager. One, the subs today, you can see a football pitch and who's your effective players. He hasn't brought them on. And the defenders have made horrendous mistakes. So schoolboys all the way, and we're going to get punished. And this HMS Pistol League is doing a very slow turn and circle at the moment. And I can take us losing, but just in the manner we have and conceded goals this season, it's clear as day.
Right, Tom. I'll let you go now. Just before we
Thank
hit
you.
the iceberg and sink to the bottom of the sea. so thanks a lot for your call, Tom. We'll be in touch.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. Cheers, mate. See you later.
See you later.
That was Tom Main. Right, I'm going to bring in Mark Tunisy. Hi, Mark. Good to see you again on the pod.
Hey, how you guys? Nice to see you all.
What's your state of mind after that?
That's state of mind. I'm having a seriously. I don't know. I'm bemused at the substitutions that Critch, kind of brought on. I can understand Garbett. That was a decent decision, but then you bring in Sarkic on for Yates, and then you bring my favourite player of all time on. And
Who's that?
Do I need to mention him?
Go on.
Williams just doesn't do it for me at all. I'm sorry. It's just like, it was so negative. We're on the
Missing headers.
yeah, and it's just like he's lost. He doesn't know if he's a centre half. He doesn't know if he's a midfielder, and he just stands there and the ball's over his head, and he's going, what am I doing next? So you're wondering what's going on in Critch's head. You're thinking, that you've got some really talented players on the bench that are kind of sat there looking at each other thinking, what do we need to do to be brought on and be effective? Why take a striker off and replace him with an attacking midfielder?
Sarkic was garbage, wasn't he, when he came out? The killer moment for me was when he just fell over when there was no one around him. He kind of tackled himself.
I know. It was. Listen, I don't want to berate them. I really don't, because
feel free, Mark. This is the platform to do it.
I know, but they've not had a lot of game time. Sarkic, it's like his first proper game that he's come on in, and
he looked a bit out of shape to me.
Yeah, it looks like he's a bit ring rusty and what have you. And all right, he's had that chance, and he should have hit it. Let's face it, he should have just smashed it, but he didn't. And he tried to play CJ in, but we were talking. I remember the last game when we came on after the match, and we were talking about the defence, and we were talking about there's a mistake in egg potato every single time, and straight away, it's the same thing. We were talking about it last week, and it's the same thing this week. And I said to you, all right, Nottingham is not the best, right, but he's covering for him, and I still think some of the mistakes that he was making was because he was covering for the other guy. And today, a mistake again. I don't think we've had one game where he hasn't made a mistake that's led to a goal, apart from the Swindon game, sorry. Every other game, he's done something and there's a goal off the back of it. So why aren't they being coached? Why isn't somebody taking them to one side and taking them through defensive coaching or doing something with them, trying to teach them what they're supposed to be doing? Because they all look frightened to death when the ball comes to them.
Matt, I'll bring that over to you. You used to be a defender in your prime, didn't you? A very long time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago. Yeah, thanks.
Ekpiteta and Nottingham, I like to call them the masters of disaster.
That's very complimentary, I would have thought, really. So, yeah, I think, I mean, you know, the fact is that the players are continually looking over their own shoulders to see what other mistakes might be in the next teammate. It's ridiculous. And that's where they're at the moment as a unit at the back four. You know, there's players in there. I'm sure they will get better, but
we need it now, though, don't we?
Well,
We can't
exactly.
wait.
Well,
we can't give them half a season. Fuck that.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? We've got two options here. We either stick with it somehow and let them get better by making mistakes and learning from them, or we can get somebody else in, hopefully, to shore up that back four. And maybe even two players, especially now we've got a million fullbacks on the books. We seem to be having this conversation every week, as I mentioned earlier, and it ain't going to end just overnight. But the 2-3 centre halves that we've used so far, I thought Husband did all right until that fatal mistake. I thought he brought a bit of a sureness about the back four. He was able to bring the ball out. Maxwell was obviously, you know, he was playing the ball actually a little bit longer today rather than relying on giving it shorter. So we've sort of immediately cut out 50% of mistakes that we've used already. But typically the only time we play it short, he cocks it up, and that's the game over with pretty much, isn't it? So, I don't know. It just shake me head all the time about these things. Mistakes.
Sam, you obviously know Husband better than most, and you did allude to it earlier that he is prone to the odd mistake. Do you think that's worthy of him being dropped from the side, or just a mistake you move on, or the square pegs and round holes, get a proper centre half in there and put him at left back?
I think you've got to bring in a proper centre half who knows their husband's played left back all his career, whether it's been at Doncaster or wherever else he's been. But at Fleetwood, he was so many times he got caught just napping on the ball, and where the wingers are coming in and winning a free kick, winning a penalty like today. He's I won't say he's a leader. I don't think he's a leader, but he's one of those people who talk to defenders. And again, like Matt's alluded to there, I thought first half he was great, and some of the comments said he made a crucial interception in the first half with a kind of a dive in the box and stopped their striker from getting it. But I just don't know why he's brought in 3 or 4 fullbacks now and not sorted an area out that we knew was dodgy last season. It does baffle me, but again, I'm not going to be two-faced, because like yesterday I said we've got to trust him and it's a transition period, but if we can't win games, we're going to give 3 goals away, which all 3 were mistakes. So we've got to learn from it, and we'll go again in 2 weeks' time.
I think we look weaker on the left side, though. You know, last season with McDonald, you know, he was bombing up that wing. He was getting back. Nobody was getting past him. You know, it didn't look like he had a mistake in him. He didn't do anything wrong. And I really don't know what he's done to not be in the plans going forward. I just think Critch has seen him, just thought, nah, don't fancy you, off you go, son. You know, and replacing him with what? You know, you've got a left midfielder, really, in Mitchell, playing at left back. All right, you've got Garbett just joined. You know, I can't really say very much about him. We've only seen, 20, 30 minutes of him. So
maybe it's, the fact that he's offloaded pretty much every single player that he's not brought in himself. Maybe it's a bit of, not arrogance, but well, possibly. These aren't my players, so I'm not playing them. And I'll just bring Tim in quick, because Tim was a big McDonald fan.
McDonald's
Tim,
fan.
Did you hear that?
Or both.
Yeah, both. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Sorry.
Two of these.
Callum McDonald.
Callum McDonald. Mark just mentioned there that it's very strange that he's been shipped off and I think been replaced by lesser players at that position. A strange decision. And is this arrogance from Critchley, i.e. saying he's not my player, therefore I don't want him, so he's getting rid of him?
I mean, we don't know that. The one thing I would say is that McDonald seemed to tick every single box in relation to what you'd want from a Blackpool player moving forward: the right age, opportunity to improve, shown what he could do. And it did seem a very strange decision to me that he was shipped out quite as quickly as he was. And I was just listening to the show then, and I felt Mark made a great point about, what have we actually replaced him with? I don't think we've actually replaced him with anybody at the moment. Mitchell had a great first game against Swindon, but he got skinned today, and I'm looking at McDonald and thinking, well, he did it over a certain number of games. He got injured in the middle, or Grayson didn't play him for whatever reason. But whenever he played, I thought we played some great football last year, and he could defend. Yeah. So I'm bitterly. I said that last week, didn't I? But bitterly disappointed with today. And the other point, I think I was speaking to Sam before we came on air. I won't even talk about the defence because you guys have covered it already, and I endorse everything you say. And we've spoken about it week after week after week. But the other thing that we didn't have today was a leader out there for me. Yep. Somebody who is going to, we go 2-1 up. You want somebody out there who's going to say, right, we dig in, we defend well. And there's nobody taking the lead. I mean, Robson does a lot right, but he seems to me to be quite a quiet player. Now, difficulties. I was watching it today with no sound, so it's very, very hard. We're in the Armfield bar, and they have to put music on, so you effectively can't hear anything. So we listened to it, or watched it, I should say, without commentary. But I'm looking at and I don't see anybody sort of almost like getting hold of the shirts, the collars of everybody going, come on. And I think we need or somebody just leading by example. It's just it needs someone to pull them together, and it needs two, for me, centre backs, and we haven't got that.
Right, Nick, I'm just going to bring you in quickly. We did mention over the phone just beforehand that we were lacking that leader in that team, particularly on a couple of occasions where we were just shaky at the back, and Tim's just said it there.
Yeah,
and it's a glaring gap in this team that we don't have a leader on that pitch, and we do not have a solid defence, and no one can have confidence in that defence.
No, not at all. Like Tim's just said, we're lacking a leader, and we're in danger if we're going to be doing a show every week that's we're talking about the same things, which is mistakes in defence, lack of leadership, and you're not going to win games like that. We can't give ourselves a mountain to climb every time. I'd endorse everything everyone said about full-backs and where we're lacking in the centre of defence. And, this under-23 Liverpool way football's great in theory, but it's League One and we need a bit of steel. We go 2-1 up with, 7 minutes to go, and we didn't deserve to be 2-1 up. Lincoln with a better team in that second half, but you should be able at that point to see the game out. A bit of clever game management.
Game management, it's called.
Yeah, and within 30 seconds, less than a minute, it's 2-2. And then you've got their guy doing keepy-ups in our 6-yard box to put them 3-2 up. It's just, there was a lot of swearing going on in my house, that's for sure.
Right, guys, let's just go round the room and just relive the game if we must. Tim, let's start with you, going from right to left. He's pulling his face.
Do we have to?
Well, we scored first, so that's something positive.
To be fair, I thought in the first half, I thought we played very well.
I'm just going to get another beer, so you lot just talk amongst yourselves.
I think the stats in the first half, we'd had 8 shots to their 1, and their 1 was the penalty. And I think, Sam and I think if you analyse where we sat at half time, we are disappointed that we're not winning the game by 1 or if not 2 goals, aren't we? Bearing in mind we had Yates, who had a great shot from outside the area that hit the post and came out. But various other efforts, and scored a good goal, and then we've conceded a very, very sloppy one. So I was disappointed that we weren't effectively in a quite secure position at that point. I don't know what everybody else thought, but that was I said it again. It's really weird because Sam and I were watching it. We took my laptop down to Armfield. There's a lot of noise. I think they have to put music on anyway, so you can't listen to commentary of games. And so we were effectively watching it without sound, and it was great atmosphere, it was good to do, but you miss things, I think. I'd almost like to watch the game back again. Maybe not with Chisnell's commentary, but with some commentary, and listen to how it plays out. So, but I was quite happy with the first half.
No, go on. Sorry, Nick, go on. You go.
I'd agree with Tim. I think first few minutes they had the better of it, but then we settled into the game, didn't we? With, like Tim said, I think 8 or 9 chances. CJ doing what he does best. I think we've got to be careful we don't just end up relying on him to do it every week. But yeah, we played well first half, and you're thinking going into it second half, even though they've come back into it, you're thinking we can go on and get the 3 points, and it just second half, it just didn't happen, did it? They came out, they were the better side, knocking it about, and we were hanging on. The longer the game went on in the second half, we were hanging on. It was flying around our 6-yard box, and you're thinking, how's that not gone in? And chance after chance, and we didn't deserve anything. And the subs just seemed to, like Mark said before, it was bizarre, some of the subs, and it just seemed to disrupt things even more.
Mm-hmm. I look at the one chance for me is, I think it was CJ has gone through 1-on-1. Defender's not seen him on this blind side.
Yeah.
And I think it's touched just before he has a shot. He's not got it out of his body enough to really wrap it around the keeper. And it's just sailed kind of past the top left corner if we're looking at it. And I think if that goes in, was that a 2-1 or 1-1? I can't remember.
Would have made it 2-1, yeah.
Would have made it 2-1. And I just think if you get that one, then you get the third one. If it happens like that, then everything's fine. But if we can't take chances, and Yates had a few today, someone's mentioned what was your thoughts on Yates. You can't have all these chances, 8 shots at goal and 2 on target. We've got to be more clinical up front. And we also have to be a bit more resolute at the back.
I'm just looking at the stats now, actually, Sam, and it says we've had 17 shots, only 3 of which were on target. Tim, as I said to you on Twitter, paraphrasing your brother,
yes,
hit the target.
Yes, he did use to come out with that one quite a bit in the north and south stands, respectively, and it's a fair point. I didn't quite realise. Obviously, it said 8 shots. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't know whether you class like hitting the post as off target.
It's off target, yeah.
It is, but I mean, you look at the shot. I mean, he couldn't really have hit it much better. And the other one, I think he had, or CJ had, was curled around and just missed the target. But yeah, it's a valid point. If you want to win games, then you've got to be testing the keeper, haven't you?
No, it's just. I think it's more frustration. I know we're raw, and it's quite soon after the game. But Lincoln weren't great. That had people saying they were really well organised, but they've won 4 out of 4, and I don't see anything special in them. And that's probably more the frustrating thing. I don't know what Mark you think of Lincoln, but I just didn't think they were great today.
I think like Gillingham last week, they did a job. They'd done the hard work. They were solid. I think they doubled down on CJ. They knew what CJ was going to do at the end, and they kind of put 2 men on him. Yeah, I think we've got a couple of corners off of what he was trying to do, which is pull the ball back inside and then move in for that left foot strike, and they'd suss that out. I've not seen him hit the ball with his right foot yet, and I think he's becoming a little bit one-dimensional, if you will. And I think. I don't know. I'm still trying to understand the decision to start Labala, and because
I agree. Let's get lineups up.
Honestly, I just don't get it. I know he's well thought of, and I know that he scored plenty of goals last season, but he's done nothing for me to start a game. His performances have been pretty woeful. I want to support him. I want everybody to get a good shot at the. Keeping hold of the place and what have you, but it's just done nothing at all. It reminds me of Adi Youssef. We've let him go, and he's playing wherever he's playing nowadays. And we've replaced him with a similar type player. Who doesn't really know what to do when he gets the ball, won't attack the man, won't go past the man, and when he does shoot, it's telegraphed. So. the defenders got a chance to get a foot across it and clear it. So there's a lot of questions there at the moment. I still don't think Critch knows what his best starting 11 is. I think he's still trying to work it out. But fair play to Lincoln. They've done a job on us, like Gillingham last week, and we need to be an awful lot better than we have been, and it needs to get better very, very quickly.
Nick, I thought Lincoln were just to answer Sam's question. I thought Lincoln were I thought they were a decent side. And I thought the quality in this division is a hell of a lot improved on third divisions of days gone by. I don't know if that's because of the pitch or improved coaching methods, but I thought Lincoln were a decent side and they were ultimately worthy of the 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, they certainly didn't come for a draw. You know, they were getting on the front foot as the game went on, and you know they were worthy winners. But I think there's going to be a lot of said last week. There'll be a lot of teams who are much of a muchness. They'll be well organised. They'll have a game plan, and as things stand, they'll get 3 points off us. When they play us, because we haven't got that resoluteness yet. We haven't got that steel, and we need it soon, or else, like I say, we're going to be having the same conversations week in, week out, where we'll start well, we'll go in front, we'll play some nice stuff, and then we'll end up individual mistakes will cost us, and it needs addressing soon. Kemp's come from West Ham. He's sitting on the bench. You wonder what's going on there. He must have something about him to be a Premier League club. And you wonder whether when he's going to get his chance. Like you say, wondering why Libala's starting, not done anything for me yet. And I think next week we need to see something different, definitely.
Who's the next game? Who do we play next?
We've got Crewe in 2 weeks' time, but that could be in doubt with their game against Oxford being postponed. So maybe it's a bit of time for Critchley and his coaching staff to work on the defensive side of things the next few weeks.
Or focus on recruitment.
Yeah, I think it's the latter, because
got to be.
How
not
do you,
good enough. They are not good enough.
I don't know how you coach those mistakes out of people. I think they've got it in them. They've got it in them, and it's probably a change of personnel.
The window shuts on Monday, though, doesn't it? So we haven't got
2 days
to play with.
No, but I guess does the loan market open pretty much at that point as well? Or it's open all the time, isn't it, anyway?
We have to hope that there's a couple of decent loan signings lined up.
Right, so we've got someone else who's just joined the stream. Hi, John. How's it going? Pleased to meet you.
Hey, guys. Yeah, not bad, thanks. A little bit. It's a bit of a Saturday disappointment again this weekend.
Yeah, where are you calling from, John? Where in the country are you?
Yeah, I'm in Blackpool, just live on Sir Stanley Matthews Way, funnily enough, just behind the back of the ground.
Brilliant. Perfect address for a pool fan. Right, what did you make of that debacle today?
Funnily enough, I actually thought first half we passed the ball really well. I thought we looked really good. Impressed with our pressing play, to be honest. I didn't think we had too much defensively. My concerns pre-match were defensively. Obviously, I think a lot of people, given the last couple of games defensively, we looked a bit shabby at the back, but I thought we looked comfortable first half. Give away a poor penalty, very poor penalty, when really we should have been looking to just see the half out. And then second half, it just seemed to just go all downhill from there. Even though we look good going forward, we just got no cutting edge, up front. That final pass.
So would you say the main problem with this team is the cutting edge going forward or the defence?
I'd say there's a bit of both, to be honest. Defence, I'm still not comfortable with the defence. Whilst I think we look good going forward from a defensive perspective from the fullbacks, centrally, I think our organisation and everything is. I just don't feel comfortable the way we set up at the back in the centre two at the back at the moment. That's causing me concerns. We give the ball away sloppy. That's the penalty for the second goal, and also the defensive mistakes for that third goal. An average defensive team with a decent back four would have dealt with that, and we're not dealing with that, and that's costing us.
Who wants to come in on this? Again, echoing what we've all been saying. three defensive errors.
And and I think as well, set pieces, and again, we're talking about this every week, aren't we? Defending from corners, but also when we're taking set pieces, we can't beat the first man every single time. It's just a complete waste of a corner. I'm not saying you need to score from everyone, but at least give yourself a chance. It's bizarre, and that is something you can work on the training ground. And I don't know, today just seemed it was particularly bad at both ends for set pieces for me, particularly corners.
Yeah.
John, you said yesterday on the show, didn't you? I'm worried from watching the Lincoln highlights that if they get a set piece, they're going to score one, and ultimately they scored the third one, which gave them all 3 points.
I know. You look at that third goal as well, and it's just basic, isn't it?
It was embarrassing, wasn't it? It was embarrassing.
Sunday league.
There's nothing there to deal with that's really a good back four or anybody should have to deal with. It's basic stuff.
That's what they teach as a footballer, John, don't they? You deal with that first ball, don't you?
Yeah,
that just gets dealt with, and it wasn't.
And you almost feel sorry for Maxwell today. He's made a couple of decent saves today. He's asking his back four to do a job that he'd expect any back four to do week in, week out. And there was nothing there today that, on average, a good, back four wouldn't deal with weekly. But we've given away 3 goals today. That really, I'm not being funny. You switch back a year ago today, we would not have given those goals away a year ago today. And yet we look a better team going forward. We look comfortable on the ball in midfield and have options. But at the back, it's just reversed big time. We've role reversed on the back, and the whole thing switched around for me this season.
In all seriousness, I think I can't think last time we had a defence as bad as we've got at the moment.
No.
And Phil, sorry, Phil, Tim. Just to let you continue. Phil Hornby, who's the ITV presenter, he follows us, and he said on Twitter, "I've seen Blackpool all the way down to the re-election years in year 4. In Division 4. I've seen us apply for re-election, and he's never seen as worse a defence as we've got at the moment."
I genuinely cannot think of any season where the centre of our, particularly the centre, but the whole of the default back four, and I'm excluding Maxwell from this, to be fair, is as bad as it is now.
Yep.
You've got leaders though,
and we shouldn't be saying that. We shouldn't be saying this because the reality is we had we've I'm not saying he's necessarily the solution, but we've had players like Hennigan and Tilt last season. Obviously we've had players in we might get some loan players in. We have Taylor Moore. Last season our defence was 2 or 3 times better than it is now.
Yeah,
we basically got a second division defence for me at the moment, and that's
league.
It's so annoying because last year we were crying out for fullbacks to go forward. That was the only thing sort of missing from the back 4 or 5, whatever else they were playing. Now we've potentially, let's put it that way, got the fullbacks in place, whether it be the new lad from Notts Forest that might replace Turton, or Mitchell or Garbutt at left back, presumably. But like you say, the centre, it's just so soft and so weak.
The centre's so core, though, isn't it? It has to be the core of the back 4. And if you've got that, if Maxwell's got that, them players in front of him, especially those 2 big centre halves that provide that security, that allows the fullbacks, which we have. I do think we've got the fullbacks now, and it's showing. Mitchell, for me, looks a class apart. We're talking about the new lad from Forest. If he slots in there as well, we've got that going forward. We've got that press, but we've got to have that strength and that confidence for Maxwell and those 2 that sit in front of him, right at the centre of that back 4, to be able to deal with the usual, the tough and gruff, that nitty gritty stuff. And we've not got that at the moment. We're too light there. We're too light.
Oh, for an Everett, eh?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Right, thanks a lot for your call, John. Really appreciate that. Do call again. Thanks for joining us.
Guys.
Thanks,
John. Cheers, John.
Right. Where do we go from here then? What positives can we take from that performance?
I think there were a few. I mean, we talked about the first half initially, after the first sort of 5 or 6 minutes. I thought we played well. But it's a game of 90 minutes, isn't it? It's not about just playing 30 minutes of good football. When I was scribbling my notes, I basically had a pad full of stuff in the first half and absolutely bugger all in the second half, quite frankly. And this is the problem. We seem to run out of steam their second half. Their midfield were swarming all over ours, it seemed. I've just switched it from a positive to a negative in 20 seconds. How good's that? Well, that's how we are at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think the positive, obviously, you've got to look at, Hamilton still played well despite him getting doubled up on in the second half. I thought Yates showed a little bit more. He again, just the first half, let's put it that way. I thought Anderson actually had a better game than he did for the last couple of games. But again, I think he needs somebody in the middle. I think Ward disappeared and didn't help him in the second half. And I saw more positives in Mitchell as a left-hand-sided midfielder stroke forward player than I did as a left-back. So maybe that's where Labala misses out next time he has Garbutt and Mitchell.
See you later, Labala.
We're talking square pegs and round holes. He's got 1 foot and he plays on the left hand side. He's right-footed. So
that's the modern day footballer, isn't it? Oh, we'll have a left foot on the right and cutting in on the favourite foot.
The only player that could ever do that well was Tony Ellis. He was a master at that. Cut it in from the left hand side, drop the shoulder, curling it into the top corner. Oh, for Tony Ellis, eh?
Yeah.
But I look and I just think. We sit like I can't compare it to the Holloway team because it's completely miles away from that. But just going forward, everyone's on the same side. There's no movement. There's no patterns of play. When I look at it, it's into Yates' feet, then into midfield, then goes out wide. We create chances, but not. Again, you've had 18 shots, you say there, but only 3 on target. I just feel like we're missing a bit of creativity. We've got the players. I just think we're a bit rigid when we go forward. Right, Labala's on the left, Hamilton's on the right, Yates stays up front. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking way ahead of what we're used to doing, but positives are I think we have got the players to do it. I think it's going to take time, but it's frustrating when you lose a game when you could have taken a point against a side who've won 3 out of 3.
And I'll just chip in, John. One final thing. I thought they were as crap as the back as we could be. They were playing far too much Barcelona style of coming out, and that's when we were pressing. And we just didn't take advantage. Well, we took advantage with the first goal, I suppose. But, this is what we're up against. We're not up against great first division teams. We're up against decent teams. That's all. And if we're well below the par as we should be, it is what it is, unfortunately, at the moment.
Tim, positives going forward. Can you think of any? Maybe take a slug of the old Tim's view into
the first half. We played some good football. I think the keeper's sound. I'm not convinced about Ward in that 3 in the centre and mid. I think we need if it's not Virtue, then we need someone else. I never quite warmed to him last season and he didn't get much football, but he's not shown anything to me this season that warrants a starting place. I think the bench looked quite strong today, in theory at least. But of course, there's quite a couple of players in there that we've not really seen much of yet. But I'm becoming increasingly frustrated by our inability to address this central defensive issue, which is, you could get slapped with a shovel in the face and it couldn't be more obvious than that, could it? That where we need to recruit. And I just hope that they've got something lined up. We had this Arsenal player who was coming in a couple of weeks ago. We thought he was joining us. He'd follow us on Twitter when he don't follow anybody. And he was. I think we actually need 2. We don't need 1. We need 2. Because I don't think Husband should be playing centre back.
No.
He's always, as Sam says, he's got a mistake in him. If he's going to play, he needs to play left back, and he might be. I think he's a good standing at centre back, but I don't think that's where he should be starting unless we're playing a back 3. Playing a back 3, then I get it. I get it because you want the left sided, the centre, and the right sided. I can fully understand the Husband in the back 3, but not in a back 2. It shouldn't be the starting position anyway. It should be the backup.
No, I don't think Critchley's going to shift from a 4-3-3, is he?
No. So in which case we need two, because it wasn't quite as bad as Nottingham's, but Ekpateta today, it was on the right hand side, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah.
And he was like schoolboy, spooned clearance. And you'd said, because Sam, I know I coached football, albeit only at junior level, played a bit, and I played centre back myself, and Sam's played centre back. And we both said, when that ball came, he should have come and met it. And either, if he wasn't going to head it, chest it, get his body into it. But instead, he's sticking his foot out and it's spooning off all over the place. And it just looked amateurish. It looked like it was worthy of being on common edge. And I said that last week about Nottingham. And, their abilities are being shown up because, I don't think either, in all honesty, are Division 1 centre backs. Most certainly not Division 1 centre backs if you want to be in the top half of that division. Yeah, I don't think I can say more than that. I don't like to have a pop at Blackpool players. It's not what we're about, but it's so bloody obvious. It's untrue. Anyway,
that's Tim's positive.
Yeah, totally agree.
It's right. It's annoying.
Yeah.
It gets on my nerves, the fact that we can all see it.
Yeah.
We're amateurs. Why can't the manager see it? He's supposed to be this guy from Liverpool, Liverpool way, under 23 academies, blah, blah, blah. But you get your basics right in football.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Nick, I know you're going to jump in a second. I just wonder if it comes back to the recruitment policy. In terms of, we've got Tommy Johnson, who's presumably been given a remit by, I assume, maybe, I don't know who, Ben Mansford. I'm not quite sure who sort of ultimately runs the show, really, because I believe it's Critchley is just given the players to coach. So they've got to look at that and maybe almost not quite rip it up and start again, but they've just got to adapt a little bit, haven't they?
We're not playing under 23s football anymore. This is the real deal. We're not. Again, I think me or John spoke yesterday about, it's not about results maybe at under 23s. Yes, you want to play well and win, but ultimately it's about bringing those players through, which Critchley did. Here, you haven't got that time to be messing around hoping this player develops. You've got to get results, and I want to give him time. I think he's here for the long term. But at the end of the day, results speak, and if he doesn't pick up results in the next 3 or 4 games, he's going to be a man under pressure.
Yeah.
Did you, sorry to interrupt, Sam, but did you see the message before from, is it MK Seaside? Apparently, Critchley's been on Radio Lancashire in denial about the need for experience.
Yeah, we've just got that comment. Sorry.
I don't think the issue of experience is, I can see the value of experience, but I think it's quality rather than experience.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, quality.
Yeah, no, it's leadership. It's leadership and experience for me, and quality as well.
Well,
it's
yeah,
there's no leaders on that pitch.
No, it doesn't have to be. Sorry,
Nick. No, you go on, Nick. Sorry, mate.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a 33-year-old centre half who's been there, seen it, and done it. It can be this lad from Arsenal. If he's better than what we've got, and he shores thing up. I don't mind who it is, but just it needs to be somebody. We can't carry on those centre halves.
Taylor Moore was a leader on the pitch, and he's a young lad.
Yeah,
Peter Clark you don't have to have the experience to be a leader on the pitch. Yeah. I remember going. We go right back. Tony Adams, as a 17-year-old, was a leader on the pitch, and there's a plethora of centre backs who've come through at a very young age and taken control. We need someone, be it young or old or whatever, who's going to lead and who's going to attack the ball, who's going to drag his defence out, who's going to shout to the rooftops to the rest of the players in the team, and basically hopefully create some form of cohesion in relation to what we do when we're defending. Because at the moment we look all over the place, all over the place. Everybody just seems to be doing their own thing and not particularly well.
That's quite a decent shout from Marcus Mackay there on the chat. He's a coach. He is. He's not a manager, and he's never managed at this level. And Jacko said, "Do you think we've got anyone lined up?" Well, unfortunately, Jacko, Dave, we're not privy to the goings on, but you'd like to think so.
Can only hope.
Well, we're in trouble if we haven't.
It's a good point about the coach and whoever's bringing in the players. Yes, he'll have his say, but if you're going off the model of a head coach doing what's on the pitch, he's relying on the recruitment in the boardroom or whoever it is. So you can't maybe again. I don't know the ins and outs of how recruitment's sorted at Blackpool. It's just a head coach, a manager. I don't know if they're different, the class differently, but whether he's in charge of players bringing in, I don't know. But if he's not, someone at the club's got to have a look at themselves and think, are these players I bought in good enough? If they're not, I've made a mistake. But hopefully we can learn from this and go again, because it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, it's a negative podcast, but we're a side that when we actually play our game and get at teams, we're going to be up there. But it's just mistakes, and 3 of them have cost us today.
Right, closing thoughts, gents. Matt, where do we go from here?
Closing thoughts. I'm just sort of probably relieved that I'm actually not drinking at the moment, because I'd be in a right old state if I was. But I think, where do we go from here? Whether we get do we get a fortnight off anyway? Sam, did you say that earlier?
Yeah. Sunderland game's a mood, hasn't it?
This could be a very critical 2 weeks in our season. I'm afraid to say at this early stage, we need a hell of a lot of positive recruitment to be sorted out. Graham's gone.
Kid says, "Bring back Ivan Jones."
Oh God!
So
we need something positive from a player recruitment perspective. Ideally, obviously, one, maybe 2 centre halves, and maybe somebody else. Who knows? And we just hope that we learn from these mistakes damn quick.
Tim, final thoughts.
I don't want to come on another podcast without us having at least one centre back in. And if we go into the next game, assuming we play Crewe with the same back 4, it'd be very, very disappointing, because we have got, as Matt says, we've got this 2-week moratorium.
That's a Timism.
That's a good one.
on our need to deal with this issue, and it's a golden opportunity to do so. You know, the loan window opens, the signing window closes, and one way or another, we need to. I keep thinking that we must have somebody lined up for centre back to come in on loan. We must have, because it is illogical not to have recruited there.
I'm just going to come in here. We actually have got a game on Tuesday, and I've completely ignored what Tom Main said. We play Accrington in the EFL Trophy on Tuesday. Do you think that's a chance, really, that we can actually bring those players in, knowing they've got next week off, that we can actually look at this defence, go in that game strong, and try and get some positivity in the team? I don't know what. I know you're trying to close it now, John, but is that a chance for maybe us to work on the defensive side of things, or? I don't. It's a game. I know it's a game that no one say they cares about, but it's a good chance for us to regroup and think about the defensive side, because that's what's letting us down at the moment.
The answer there from Dylan is: anyone know if Dekel Keane is still knocking about?
But okay, he was a no-nonsense defender that would win the ball. I rated him. I rated him.
Hang on a minute. With a turning circle of a super tanker.
But he's a no-nonsense defender who's going to get his ball in the head. He's not going to let it bounce, let it drop.
10 years ago today, he played in that team that beat Liverpool 2-1 at Anfield.
10-year anniversary today, wasn't it? 2-1 away at Liverpool. Right, Phil Reeky's put a comment up. Shall I put it up?
Go on.
My closing thought is, fuck the manager up before it's too late. I don't think Simon Sadler will, Phil, to be honest. But,
I don't think we could afford to.
This is another interesting one from James Riffett. James said, listen to a pod with Tommy Johnson. And he said he and the CEO prepare a list of players for Critchley to evaluate, and Critchley has the final say. So fingers are pointing at you, Neil, to get this effing defence sorted out sooner rather than later. Have we all done our closing thoughts? Nick, sorry, I missed you there.
Well, similar to what the guys have said, we need to be the next podcast. We need to be talking about our new centre half pairing. I think maybe on is it Tuesday we play. You'd give probably Garbett and Gabriel a go and see how they do. I think if we can get them in and play that, they're both decent players, and you'd like to think they'd be able to do something and add something to the team. We can get them playing with a centre half or two. Then we could be, it could all be very positive and a completely different outlook. But I think without that, we're going to be having similar conversations every week.
We are. Sam, just to close off, your final thoughts. Where do we go from here, etc.?
I echo what everyone else has said. Centre half we need, and I think we're good elsewhere. Midfield looks strong, look to control the game, especially first half. But again, like I said yesterday, it's a transition. We've brought in 13, 14 players this season. It's going to take them time to gel. It's not the start we had last year with Grayson, but the style of football we're playing entertains me, and I know the results are coming long term.
Oh, it's a nice bit of positivity to leave things on there, isn't it? Good old Sam. We knew you got you in there for that. Right, so that was the 606 review of the Blackpool score. Blackpool 2, Lincoln City 3. It's not the result we were looking for, but let's hope we can go on to bigger and better things in the future.
John, before we finish, I just wanted to say something. I'd sent a message, but I don't think you've seen it. Sam and I were in the Armfield Club today, and fantastic effort gone in there. And obviously, as most of the people listening to this show will know, we've been trying to raise some money to help them and to sponsor the bottle bar. Well, I think we're about 100, and I haven't checked last hour, but I think we're about 140, 150 quid short. And it'd be great if those people listening tonight could help us get over the target, because they are doing a great job down there. It's really, really difficult trading circumstances, and they've got things that they still need to do. And if anybody likes this show and aren't patrons, or even are patrons and want to help us just get over that target this weekend, it'd be really, really appreciated. It's not about us. We're just doing it to help them. And we're nearly there. It's been great in the however many days. Only a few days we've been running it.
3 days, something like that.
They need the money now, because they've got all sorts of things to sort out. And let's get there, and let's just do some, because it's a fantastic venue for everybody to go to. I said we tried it. I've been in a couple of times just to see how do we get it on, but it was the first chance that Sam and I went in today, and they've got all the PPEs, the sort of things you need to sort out for going in there. Everybody's masked up. Everything's relatively safe as it can be. But what a place for Blackpool fans to go and mix with each other, have a chat about football, and do all the things that we were denied for like 3, 4, 5 years, however long it was. So please just try and help us get over that target. That'd be great.
Just a tenner each, listeners. So we're on 845. Yeah, everyone looks at the screen there. We're on 845. We're nearly at our target. So it's only 155 quid to go. So if everyone listening to this, 15 people, it's a tenner each. It's not a lot of money. So please do donate if you can, just to do that. If you can see on the screen there, it's gofundme.com. Strangely /Armfield-Club-Sponsorship. That'll take you to the donate page, or alternatively, you can go to Seasiders Pod on Twitter. If you go to our Twitter page, I've pinned the tweet at the top of the Twitter page, and you'll be able to donate there. You'll be able to see the link where you just click it, and it'll take you through to the Armfield Club sponsorship page via GoFundMe. Takes a deep breath. Right, let's click our heads back on again. Right, gents, thanks for everything. Let's hope we're coming back on the next 606 show in more positive circumstances. So thanks to all our guests this evening. Thanks to John, the caller. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to Tom. Thanks Sam. Thanks Matt. Thanks Tim. Thanks Nick.
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you all for watching these streams. We appreciate everyone who listens to podcasts. We wouldn't be here where we are without you. And all that remains to be said is thanks for downloading, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and up the pool.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
With a great tradition.